What's going on, guys? This is Jordan Miller. I'm the owner and founder of BreatheHeavy, and today I'm going to be recreating one of Britney Spears' iconic album covers for In the Zone. So interestingly enough, two never before seen photos from this photo shoot surfaced online mysteriously, and it inspired me to want to kind of pay homage to the original cover using these new two pictures. To me, it appears that these two new photos that surfaced were taken in the same 5 to 10 minutes that this shot was. So I thought it'd be a lot of fun to kind of pay homage to the original album cover using these two new pictures and breathe new life into the album cover. Shout out to Britney Online. The photos were first posted there, and Britney took these pictures in 2003 for actually a magazine photo shoot, and they liked the pictures so much they used it for her album cover, and it's shot by photographer Patrick DeMarchelier. What I'm gonna do is use Photoshop to edit these pictures and do a screen recording of what I'm doing as I'm editing these album covers. And then while I'm editing, I'm gonna be answering questions about In the Zone. I put up a sticker on Breathe Heavy's Instagram, and if you're not already following after your YouTube video binge, please head over to Instagram and follow at Breathe Heavy. And I asked people to ask In the Zone related questions. So I'm super excited to get started, but before we do, we gotta get in the intro. Okay, so this is the first photo I'm gonna start with. I feel like it might be the easier one of the two. And I have the album cover right here just for reference, kind of look back on here and there. I'd like to create this particular one as close to the original as possible. So I'm going to crop her face to be pretty zoomed in. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just crop. And the first question I'm gonna answer is, how would I describe In the Zone to someone who's never listened to a single Britney song? It's a really interesting question. I feel like In the Zone is very original, so it's kind of hard to compare it to something for someone to get a frame of reference. The first thing I'm gonna do is make it black and white and then change the color to blue. So In the Zone, super original because I feel like all the songs, they kind of have a little bit of a different flair. Like, it's a very cohesive sounding album, but it reminds me of Glory, or I guess Glory reminds me of In the Zone in some sense, because there's different genres that are woven in throughout the album. Like, Outrageous has like this kind of Egyptian feel, and the hookup has like this Jamaican feel, and so there's kind of just different parts of the world, different culture. In the Zone is very vibey. I feel like In the Zone is the album that she's really becoming a woman in the sense of like exploring her sexuality. I just remember her being very in tune with, you know, her body and embracing that, and a lot of people gave her a hard time about that. Let's answer another question. If Toxic was released as the first single, how do you think it would have changed the era? I mean, it would have drastically changed the era because Britney's first track featured Madonna. It actually wasn't intended to feature Madonna. The original version was a solo track, but then after the VMAs, that was such a defining pop culture moment that they were like, let's jump on a track together. I think Madonna is what really made it kind of an iconic song. I'm not convinced that Me Against the Music on its own, there's a version of this track online without Madonna. And it's like, I think it was like with Magnet. Me Against the Music was like a great primer for Toxic. Like, it got people kind of like aware that she was releasing the album, and then Toxic was the one that just, you know, the timing of it all. In fact, Toxic wasn't even meant to be a single from what I remember. Her label was pushing Boom Boom, and then Britney was like, we need Toxic. I'm going to cut out the white from the background so it has the same blue color as the original album cover. All right, let me answer another question. Breathe on Me or Touch of My Hand? That's a good one. I would say Breathe on Me, simply because I just have a personal history with Breathe on Me in terms of like my website, even though my website wasn't named Breathe Heavy after Breathe on Me. Certainly did play a little bit of a role, that's for sure. I just personally like Breathe on Me more. I remember when Britney did the secret performance at the Palms, really had a good time being, you know, like a kid standing Britney Spears back in the day, and like the internet was just a totally different place than what it is now. There was a lot more secrecy, and Britney could get away with kind of doing more surprises than she probably could now. Okay, so I just cut out the background, and as you can see, it's like this very harsh, jagged edge. So what I need to do now is go in with the eraser tool and using the soft brush and go through and get rid of this harsh whiteness part. So don't get me wrong, I do like Touch of My Hand. I think that was a very bold song for her to have recorded. And I love that she performed it at the Billboard Music Awards in 2016, like straight up performed a song about, you know what it's about. And everyone just looks the other way. Like it reminds me of like her recording If You Seek Amy and that being on the radio. And like Britney Spears legit found a way to sing what it spells out on the radio. I love that. I love the violins in the song. They played it in reverse. I feel like that was kind of interesting. I don't think many songs of hers play anything backwards. I remember being young and on the fan site era, and people were reversing the reverse to see what the violins would sound like in their original form. And that was news. That was like big news back then. Anything she did was big news. Okay, so this is looking better, but it's still very harsh looking. So now I'm gonna take a softer eraser tool and kind of cut out, you know, so it needs to look basically as natural as possible, which is gonna be a little bit difficult because this photo's not such high resolution, but that's okay. We're up for the challenge. All right, let's answer another question. What's my favorite song from this era? That's a very good question. I would say Showdown, because I just remember first reading about that song in, I believe it was W Magazine when that came out, which I actually own still to this day. I have it stashed away somewhere, but I was like obsessed with the lyrics. Like they included the part of like, you know, undoing the zipper. So then when the actual song came out, I was like, and just the beat is so original. The production is super sick. I remember gravitating towards that song the fastest. It's like kind of dark pop, and you know, if I had any sort of say, obviously one of my dreams would be to help be creative director for a future era of hers, preferably her 10th studio album, which is the next album she'd create. And I know there's a lot of people saying like, she'll never do it again. I don't know. I don't see why that would be. Why would she never make another album again? That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't feel like she hates making music. I just feel like she doesn't like the situation she's currently in. You know, her dad in control. So I think once that changes, I would imagine she'd eventually put out another album. It would just be such an injustice if Britney Spears never put out another album. Like, what? No. I kind of get in... Wow, I was about to say I get in the zone when I'm in Photoshop. But it's really true. Like, do you know how many nights I've spent just, like, in Photoshop making something that I don't even ever share with anybody? I'm just, like, editing, and it's just fun. It's, like, fun because you literally have to use your imagination. Like, whatever is in here, you need to somehow try to apply it in Photoshop. And that is, like, such a fulfilling challenge. In the Zone era was packed with promo and tons of performances. Your favorite? I loved her appearance on Saturday Night Live. She sang live. Those performances, especially the Everytime performance, are very underrated because not enough people give Britney credit for being a singer. To be fair, she doesn't sing live very often, and I think that's because she fears that people will judge her. And I just would love for her to give a big F you to that, and when she returns eventually, fingers crossed, that she sings live. And if that means that she dances less, I honestly feel like so many fans will be totally okay with that. I feel like that would be an amazing challenge for her to sing live, and probably really scary, you know? But that's how people grow, is doing things that scare them. And it's not easy. Trust me, there's things that scare me that I'm like, I'm good. And then I do them anyway, and I'm always just, after the fact, really grateful, and it helps me grow. So this next one is gonna be more challenging in my opinion because there's more detail to do. And I actually wanna keep more of her body in this one. Something about wanting to kind of do like some zoomed out versions I think would be cool. You You know, originally the album cover was meant to be showing her tank top straps, and then in the last second they changed it. What does in the zone mean? To me, it's synonymous with being in what's called flow. So if I wasn't talking and answering questions and I was simply just focused on this Photoshop creation, I would most likely be in what's called flow, which is a state that I'm in every single day when I'm working, really, where time doesn't obey the rules and the laws as it does if you're not completely enjoying yourself. So what I mean is, when you're enjoying something, you're enjoying a task, you're completely in the zone, as they say. That's why time can just fly by, because you're just enthralled with things. And to me, that's what being in the zone means, is that you are in this state of awareness, state of mind, where time is passing you at a quicker rate because you are in a state that allows you to. You're so focused on the task at hand that you can't allow other distractions to creep in, because otherwise you may lose your concentration. And if you lose your concentration, the end result may not be what you were going for. So other examples of this are working out, for instance. Like when I also work out, I'm in the zone, meaning I have to focus on the workout at hand, because if I'm thinking, it's impossible basically to think about other things while you're doing intense workouts. It's just not possible. Like your mind, when you get to these kinds of states that I put my body in, your mind has no choice but to go into this kind of like fight or flight mode, where it's like thinking like, okay, like your body, if you're exerting so much energy, your body's like going and going, and that's when your mind starts to be like, pull back, you know, you're in the danger zone. But your body is capable of pushing itself so far. It's really incredible, and it's your mind that really stops you. So it's up to you to kind of train your mind to tell yourself, no, you are going to do what I tell you to do, because, you know, your primitive mind wants you to just stop, because it feels like, you know, if you don't stop, there's going to be real trouble. And really, for the most part, that's an illusion. You can push your body pretty far. And I'm not advising you to do something stupid in terms of working out or just things in general. I'm just saying I push my body really, really hard. And my mind, every single time I do that, it's like, Jordan, stop. And this kind of push and pull that you're doing is me being in a zone, because I literally can't think of anything else. And so I think in that, when you view it through that lens, this album cover, this album title might be one of her best. I mean, I think Blackout is the best, or Britney Jean. But In the Zone is something that, you know, I love, because you have to be in this kind of state of mind to really accomplish some amazing things. Okay, so what I'm doing right here is similar to what I did in the other photos. I'm just kind of using a soft eraser brush to get rid of some of these harder edges, because she's out of focus minus her face. Her arms and her chest are pretty out of focus. So in a real photo, this is what would happen, is the edges of her arms would be a little more blurred. So we don't want these harsh edges. We want to kind of tone these down a little bit. So as you can see here, this is like another state of being in the zone. This is another state of flow. I'm very much focused on the task at hand to make it as pretty as possible. And that's why I mentioned it's difficult to talk and answer questions while photoshopping, because it requires you to be in this kind of focused state to make the end result really what you want it to be. You know, I'm having to imagine in my mind what I want, and then I have to execute it somehow in this physical reality. I did not expect to make a conversation to be this deep while photoshopping Britney's album covers, but that's why I love YouTube. That's why I love making these videos. Okay, this I'm also really, really happy with. I think this is turning out really cool. Ooh, I love how this turned out. This turned out really, really nice. Okay, so these are the two versions of the new In the Zone album covers that I created. I'm super curious to know what you think. Please drop me a line in the comments and let me know if you like them, if there's something I should tweak, or if you're using them. I would love to hear your reaction. And while I've got you, please make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell. That would really help me out a lot. All right, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you like what I made. It was way more difficult to juggle answering questions and editing and creating this video at the same time, but it was a really entertaining experience for me, and I hope it was for you too. Thank you so much for watching. It's greatly appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video. Outro!